wants to become president of the United States of America. And in order to achieve his goals, he has to forge an alliance with the Heritage Foundation, because after all, the Heritage Foundation is responsible for the architectural design of Project 2025. I found this article written by Josh Dawsey for the Wall Street Journal. The headline reads, Top Heritage Officials Flee to Mike Pence's Nonprofit as Think Tank Fractures. Conservative movement continues to splinter about how to deal with its most controversial voices. Quote, Former Vice President Mike Pence's political group is poaching top officials from the Conservative Heritage Foundation amid growing ideological fights with the conservative movement and backlash at the think tank. Pence's Washington-based group started in 2021 and called Advancing American Freedom. Is slated to hire about 15 of Heritage's employees, including several of its prominent leaders, the group officials said. In an interview, Pence told the Journal he had long admired the Heritage Foundation but sees the group now, quote, abandoning its principles, end quote. He said the foundation had, quote, fallen, end quote, because it had embraced elements of isolationism, stopped backing Ukraine in the war with Russia, supported some tariffs, and backed Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Health and Human Services Secretary, among other things. Quote, why these people are coming our way is that Heritage and some other voices and commentators have embraced big government populism and have been willing to tolerate anti-Semitism, end quote, Pence said. The problem with Pence is this. Pence has been rejected, largely, by MAGA and by the Republican Party. And Pence wants to be president of the United States of America. In order to do that, he must forge an alliance with the most strict individuals that there is that embrace racism and bigotry. Basically, that's what this is about. Among those joining AAF are John Malcolm, the head of the foundation's Legal and Judicial Studies Center, Kevin Dirarantna, the head of the foundation's Data and Analysis Center, and Richard Stern, the director of the foundation's Economic Policy Studies Institute. AFF said it is bringing on about a dozen other staff members. Malcolm is taking several members of his center's team. In a statement, Heritage Chief Advancement Officer Andy Olivatoro was critical of some staffers who have decided to leave, accusing them of disloyalty. He said Malcolm and another staffer last week were terminated for conduct inconsistent with Heritage's mission and standards, quote, close quote. Our mission is unchanged and our leadership is strong and decisive. Heritage has always welcomed debate, but alignment on mission and loyalty to the institution are non-negotiable. A handful of staff chose a different path, some through disruption, others through disloyalty, quote, close quote. Conservative groups are jockeying to hold significant influences as the Republican Party charts its future in the coming years, with President Trump's term ending in January 2029. The fight has played out at America Fest this week, with prominent speakers clashing in Arizona over the future of the party, how aggressive it should be in shaping the world, what economic policies it should embrace, how it should handle social issues, and who its next leader should be. The problem with the Republican Party is this. You messed up. That's what you did. You messed up. The Republican Party is in disarray. The Republican Party is in a state of dismal confusion. And in order for the GOP to try to get back to its so-called conservative base connection, they're going to have to embrace the ideological policies of the Heritage Foundation. Oh, yes. Without them, Pence cannot become president. And know this for a fact. Project 2025 does not end when people think it ends. It will continue to go forward under a different name, a different title, a different leader, a different style. But it will be the same racist, bigoted policies that they are putting forth. And when uh, big millionaire and billionaire donors pour the monies continually into the coffers of the Heritage Foundation, you can believe they're going to forthrightly espouse the sentiments of those who support them. Listen up, Black people. It's time for us to get our own think tanks. It's time for us to have our own political action committees or PACs. It's time for us to understand that when you outwit your opponents, you win the battle. All the jockeying in the streets and all this type stuff, it's been played out for a long time. It's about the money game now. Oh, yes, it's about the money game. In order to support the candidates that you want to go into higher offices, in order to get your message across, in order to effectively change things in this nation, the political coffers must be full at all times. And the reason why people think that Black people don't matter, because they think we don't have a voice. They think we can't organize and strategize. They think we just are out there to shuck and jive. Let me tell you something. Point blank, we don't care about these shucking and jiving entertainers. They don't mean anything to us. Y'all are the ones who made them. You're the ones who backed them. You're the ones who invested in them. You're the ones who put them on the grand stage of foolery and tried to make us accept them as our spokespersons and leaders. They don't speak for us. They don't act for us. They don't endorse many times the things that we endorse. So all the shucking and dancing and jiving and all of the stupid, insidious comedic shows that y'all make, they do not speak for us. They speak for themselves. There's a group of us that are highly intelligent, highly articulate. We know how to organize, strategize, and we know how to outwit our enemies. The mind is your most powerful asset. Over vocalization, what you think is what you become. I'll say it again. What you think is what you become. And we're not going to sit by and idly say, you know what, we can't combat these things that are happening and going on. Yes, we can. A different approach, a different approach, different tactics, different measures. I'm not going to sit around and allow myself to say, oh, they're doing this to us and they're doing that to us. You know what? It's time to organize. Now let's get back to the so-called conservative. There is no conservative movement. It's a racist movement. That's it. The Republican Party has died. There is no Republican Party. Those pathetic cowards who left Washington, D.C. for their Christmas vacation, they're on their yachts, they got their bodyguards, they're with their families and their friends, they're laughing at people. They have not come to any consensus on health care, no consensus on SNAP, no consensus on anything that highly will give an incentive to people to want to vote for them in the upcoming midterm elections. Why do you think a lot of the Republican Congress people are bowing out? Why do you think a lot of the Republican senators will not run again? Because they know they cannot and will not win. That's why. They're abandoning ship and they're running for higher ground. They'll take all their money that they've gotten, their perks and their benefits, and the retirement packages that they've gotten at the expense of the American people. And they'll open up their nonprofit organizations and go around the country and pretend that they were the ones who were fighting for us when we know in actuality it's a total fallacy. And the midterm elections are going to be about one thing, the economy. That's what it's going to be about. It's going to be about the economy and healthcare, Medicaid, Medicare. It's going to be a national referendum. And Pence cannot win without the support and the backing of the Heritage Foundation. And he's more dangerous, listen to me, he's more dangerous than MAGA. Because at least with MAGA, you know where they are, what they do, and what they think. Pence is the type of individual like Ronald Reagan was. He does his best work behind the scenes. Quote, the conservative movement is in serious danger. Prominent podcast host Ben Shapiro said from the stage of Vice President J.D. Vance, who represents a different wing of the party than Pence, spoke at the conference on Sunday, drawing rousing applause. Pence has held less influence in the GOP since he broke with Trump in 2021 over the president's false claims that the 2020 election was stolen. He struggled to attract support in a 2024 presidential bid, dropping out and winning no primary states. He remains popular with certain conservatives who haven't embraced Trump's vision for the party. However, Heritage is much larger than Pence's group and remains more institutional sway in Washington. There you have it. The key word is institutional. Institutional racism, institutional bigotry, institutional lynching. Oh, yes, it's institutionally taking place from the corporate heads, from the corporate CEOs, from the prolific thinkers and scholars. And if anyone told you that we can't reason and think and research for ourselves, somebody has told you wrong. And this is why a lot of individuals are losing the fight. All the dog and pony shows and the little gadgets that they show you on these propagandist news networks, ladies and gentlemen, that is not the news. It's called deflection. And when they're deflecting, they are organizing. When they're deflecting, they're strategizing. When they're deflecting, they are taking away your constitutional rights. When they're deflecting, they're preparing to bring more misery and heartache and pain, especially upon Black people. So the Heritage Organization has seen significant tumult in recent months, and the tipping point for some was a video filmed by Heritage leader Kevin Roberts. In the video, Roberts defended Tucker Carlson, who condemnation for his friendly interview with the right-wing influencer Nick Fuentes, a white supremacist and Holocaust denier. Nick Fuentes, he is anti-Semitic. When you deal with anti-Semitism, why isn't his name mentioned in the conversation? When the topic of anti-Semitism comes up, they try to make it appear that Black people are anti-Semitic, and that's an outright lie. That's to garner support. That's to stir up their base. That's to keep it around, to keep their agenda, their public agenda hidden. Nick Fuentes is a white supremacist, point blank. And we all know what white supremacy is. It's more of an ideology than physicality. And he's also a Holocaust denier. If that's not anti-Semitism, what is it? You tell me. If that's not being anti-Semitic, denying that Hitler, the vitriolic racist and anti-Semite, who systematically planned and plotted the destruction and annihilation of 6 million plus Jewish men and women and children. This is his hero. This is the person Nick Fuentes idolizes. And you're going to try to tell us that we don't know what anti-Semitism is? He's the poster boy for it. But yet he has a national platform and a national podcast backed up by millions of people who think and act and speak just like him. This channel may be small in growth. Doesn't matter to me because I stand on principle, stand on integrity. And I will always take the right position when it comes to things. I fight for the rights of every person, point blank. And I'll point blank say being anti-Semitic is wrong. Point blank. I don't have to mince my words. I don't have to bite my words. Being anti-Semitic is plain wrong. Being anti-black is plain wrong. Being anti-white is plain wrong. I deal with people based upon what they say and what they do, not because of the pigmentation and color of somebody's skin. You'd be surprised how many disagreements and arguments I have among my own people because of how they think and how they act. And some of the things that they do is totally out of character. I let them know I'm not going to justify it. You can call me what you want to call me. I'm not going to justify wrong. I don't care who it comes from. So Roberts was widely criticized at a staff meeting after the video. 3 board members have since resigned. Roberts later apologized for the video. Some staff have grown frustrated that Roberts hasn't removed the video from the website. Why? Why is the video still up? What purpose does the video serve? Except it sends a subliminal message that you are aligned with MAGA. That's all it could do. And he has privately said he won't take the video down. Roberts said. Fuentes didn't immediately respond to requests for comment. So then boycott the Heritage Foundation. Boycott them the same way you will boycott anybody else. There should be no favoritism given to the Heritage Foundation's leadership. If they're wrong, they're wrong. If colleges and universities can be boycotted and take away federal funding from them because of the perception and of being anti-Semitic, then why can't the Heritage Foundation lose their 501c3 tax exemption? What? Why can't they be punished? Because it's a double standard. Roberts has taken a, stringently pro-Trump tone at the organization. Some in the conservative space now see room for a different path. Quote, after Kevin Roberts' video, I had several judges, academics, and prominent practitioners come to me, personal friends of mine, who'd say, we love you, we love the Me Center, but we're not going to do anything with the Heritage Foundation in the future, quote, close quote. Malcolm, the departing expert, said, the Kevin Roberts video was a seminal moment inside the organization. So why is the video still up? Unless he approves of Nick Fuentes and his anti-Semitic views. Art Pope, a longtime prominent donor in North Carolina, said he had stopped giving to the Heritage Foundation because he saw the group supporting populist economic policies in recent years. He is now giving to AAF, he said, in a bid to move the party in a different direction. President Trump's term is coming to an end. That's all they keep saying. The Republican Party is not going to see really a primary among candidates, but a primary on principles and fundamental policies. You're darn right. That's what it's coming down to. Because people are going to come out in the upcoming presidential election and they're going to remember what happened. People are not going to forget. You're not going to be able to whitewash it. You're not going to be able to produce slick videos with glossy pictures with black celebrities and all that foolishness that they normally do. Celebrities don't speak for us. I'm going to say it again. Those black millionaire, wannabe billionaire celebrities don't speak for the populace of black people. They don't. Unless they are a real activist among us. They don't represent us because they love that money. They love that fame. They love those connections. They love that power. They want to be in the in crowd in Hollywood. They want to make sure they can get involved in the next Tyler Perry movie or whatever director in Hollywood needs a token black person for whatever thing they want. They want to become the next Denzel Washington or the next whoever. So they're not going to rock the boat. Meanwhile, the average people are out, and no Democrats don't speak for black people. We speak for ourselves. So you can forget that one right there. The Democrats don't have a monopoly on black people's lives. Y'all must be crazy. Mark, you need to pick somebody else to talk to, my brother, because you got the wrong brother on the wrong day. I'm just letting you know before you go down this path with me, you're not going to like the end result of it. So keep on, and I'll respond in a way you're not going to like. You got racists and bigots and prejudiced people within the Democratic Party. How many times have I talked about how dumb and stupid and idiotic the Democrats are? Pathetic. You pick your battles that you can win. They were pathetic for ending the governmental shutdown. Pathetic. And what did they get from it? Nothing. They were duped. That's why I made the video called Dumb Democrats. They were duped. And the new generation of black people, we're not going to vote for anybody, Democrat or Republican, unless we know we are going to get something out of it. Point blank. The same way the other groups can get something for their votes, so should we. And I ain't talking about no goddamn picnic. I don't celebrate picnics. I know where the origin, the word picnic, I know what it means. If other organizations and other groups can get something for the votes and protection, why do we always have to vote blindly for candidates? That day and that time is over. Because I would use my platform and I'll speak out against all of them. I don't care. It's not going down like that anymore. No one is taking the black vote for granted anymore. Not the Republicans, the Democrats, or the independents. It's not going to happen. No more. This is a new generation. So they all keep saying President Trump is coming to an end. The Republican Party is not going to move in a different direction because Vance wants to become president. The plan to boost Pence's group was carried out in recent weeks by Tim Chapman, the leader of AAF, and Mark Short, Pence's longtime chief of staff. Among others, Chapman is a former Heritage chief of staff. Chapman and several executives from Heritage approached AAF after the Roberts video and asked if he would be willing to hire them. Malcolm said some of the staffs leaving were coordinating with one another. It was a moment of opportunity we didn't necessarily see coming these 3 months ago. It supercharges our capacity on a whole number of fronts, Chapman said. AAF said it was able to raise more than $10 million in a few weeks to make the new hires. So where's the $10 million coming from? It's coming from the billionaires. Follow the money. Always follow the money. When you follow the money, you'll get connected with the source. When you follow the money, you will find out who Mr. or Mrs. X really are. Follow the money. When you follow the money, ladies and gentlemen, you'll understand why the nation has moved in the direction that it's moving in. Freedom without finance is nothing but bondage. Political outcry without money is nothing but voices going to waste. Puppeteer, black leaders with 501c3 tax-exempt organizations just speaking from platforms from one to another to line their coffers is nothing more than a puppet show. That's what it is. It's nothing more than a puppet show. Heritage Foundation, y'all slept on them, and they won the election. Project 2025 was architecturally conceived and designed by the Heritage Foundation. Chapman said he wasn't under any illusions that his group could necessarily propel the nominee of the party. Some other groups have far more money and more staff, but right now, he said the Republican Party that Pence and others want to see has little voice. There is no Republican Party. I told you that before. It's called MAGA. There's no Republican Party. I'll say it again. There is no Republican Party. It's the MAGA Party. That's what it is. Folk gonna have to learn how to understand how this is going to go down. People have power. People have a voice. If you can do it, we can do it too. And nobody is scared of you either, Caprillo. Know that, because I'm certainly not. Never surrender. Never quit.